I try not to consume too much content and just sit there endlessly scrolling. It is my moment given to it, and it does help. I actually kind of like Instagram scrolling just so I can see ads. So I'll look at my competitors beforehand and make sure I'll get target. I'll add things to my cart. I'll make sure they target me. If they're doing a great job, cool. Let me look at their ads. I screenshot them and I use that as inspiration. So my scrolling on Instagram has a very different purpose. I really just want to see what's happening, even though I can go into their libraries, but I want to see when they come up, how long after, and it kind of just gives me an idea of a funnel. So different purposes, different scrolling, but yeah, I try not to consume too much.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fully Managed by Penji podcast, the podcast where we discuss marketing and business tips to help assist you on your business journey. I'm your host, Shannon, Penji's partnership coordinator, and I'm joined here today with a very special guest, Jenn Malka, creative director at Top Growth Marketing. Thank you so much for coming on with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here or be
Thanks.
virtually here.
Yes, you're still here. Destination, this link.
Yeah, remote.
And thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on with me today, and I really like your shirt.
Thank you. I dressed up for once. It's party on top or party on the bottom, business on top. So that's how it works.
No, I get it. It's very nice to go virtually and, maybe forget to wear pants, maybe wear pants that are unsightly. It's good.
How we work.
So could you please, just for everyone listening, just kind of explain, who you are as a professional, how you kind of got to this point in your career, and, all of that jazz, anything relevant?
Yeah, so I kind of had an interesting background. I always studied marketing. I actually started in children marketing, so child psychology, and I went into marketing. So sorry. And you know, I really liked how psychology played a part in marketing, and so I started doing event marketing and getting people in. Then I started becoming as a professional meme maker. So I was trying to get people signed up to community space by making memes and laughing, and then the last 6 years, I kinda got into digital marketing, as the creative director, so I oversee, the creatives, the emails, and the copy, and it all has to do with the psychology of, customer retention and buyer psychology, right? Like, how and why are people buying? So I kinda use that child psychology I started with, blend it to marketing, and then now it's kind of like a really holistic approach on, the customer funnel, and that's, my jam.
That's awesome. I really like the idea of how psychology is involved with marketing because I think it's something that a lot of people think it's more business, which obviously, understandably, it is. Like, there's a bunch of terms that you need to know and all that stuff. But I think psychology plays an even bigger role into it because you really have to understand your populace and what brings their attention and what they're interested in, and it's constantly changing, so it's and evolving, so it's very um difficult to keep up with sometimes.
Yeah. I think people always think that it's just trying to get someone to buy a product and buy a service, but it goes much more than that. It's like that's just halfway. How do you keep them coming back? Like, what do you need to do to increase their lifetime value? And how can you get them to refer friends? Like, it doesn't just stop at one point. So the mind kind of works so differently, understanding buyer's remorse and understanding word of mouth and understanding what goes into a product that's $15 versus $700, right? Like, that all has to do with psychology. So it's something I really love and I'm really oddly nerdy about. So that's me
No, I
as well.
I love also hearing about campaigns that I've never heard about that have been, like, epic failures or crazy successes. Um, I remember someone telling me the other day about this campaign, we were talking about, like, unexpected, marketing campaigns, like, unexpected outcomes that, like, aren't necessarily maybe negative or positive, they're just you didn't even consider them. It was, a popular airline, for their business passengers started and the vast majority of them were men because it was, like, in the '80s or something like that. Um, and they were sending letters home when they would, take business flights with their presumed wives, sending letters home saying, "Thank you so much for, bringing your wife on a vacation with our business class, blah, blah, blah." And it outed all of these cheating husbands.
Oh, my I think that's the only one.
They were hearing, like, this personal approach that they thought, and they, like, didn't they had, like, such an unexpected outcome of, like, "Oh, we just outed all these horrible men for doing for going on trips without their wives and just with other women," and I think that's so funny.
Heck, it's great.
Yeah,
Good for them. I feel like it was a whole different audience, didn't it?
I feel like they could have made an incredible twist, for, like, after that. I don't know what their marketing campaign was after that. They could have been like, keeping men loyal since 19 whatever.
Like going on to a Netflix, docuseries or something.
Yeah, I think
'Cause that's their next marketing move.
so, okay, segueing, I just needed to tell you about that because if you're a nerd, it's,
Well,
like, so fun. I love to hearing stuff like that. But
that's
so
great.
how are you able to stay up to date with a constantly changing market without going completely insane? Because I feel like this is something that is really difficult for me personally. Like, I love consuming content, but sometimes it's just overloading me as a person, and I was just curious how you kind of manage that.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I was asked this question on my interviews when I'm hiring people. So it's a great question because not only am I learning, that's one way I'm learning is that I'm, talking to them to see what they're open up. But start with basics, right? I learned so much from just newsletters, all the newsletters. I love the Daily Carnage. I love Morning Brew. I love um, uh, TLDR. There's so many great ones. You just get some really great snippets of information, but also up to date is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has become like that social place where everyone's kind of becoming a brand, but also everyone's trying to provide the most value. You can't just be like, you know, do you like to do creatives? Creatives have to stand out. You're like, I get it. So on LinkedIn, people also have to stand out and people's posts stand out. And it's kind of like that one tier above the generic stuff that you're seeing. So I feel like I'm learning a lot from LinkedIn. Um, it's digital marketing is ever changing too. Like every client is different, every platform is different, everything is changing, cookies, whatever, whatever. And I hate saying this as a millennial, but TikTok is where I kind of also learn a bunch of stuff happening.
Mhm.
That's really more on, like, updates. That's also I love using TikTok as my trends to put in copy and, especially, subject lines. I mean, you've seen the cutesy demure, that whole thing.
Uh-huh.
If you haven't used it, are you even a brand at this point? It's just one of those things that you're like, if you can't stay with the trends, you can't you're not gonna keep up, and I think TikTok is where a lot of those trends come up and a lot of those things that teaches you how to, be different for a moment, and, on top of things and stay relevant.
No, I definitely agree. TikTok is I hate to also say it, because I kind of hate the app. I think it destroys my attention span, but it's so it's such a wealth of information, and it's so easy to create content on it because it's short form that it's just, like, so easy to not only consume, but also quickly, like, say I learned something on TikTok, I think this is something that not everyone does, but you should, is, you learn something on TikTok and then you look it up afterwards and then find out about something new and hopefully it's true. Um, but yeah, it's I do learn a lot of things from it, which is, good and bad sometimes.
Mm,
As long as you're fact checking, I think it's just good, but, sometimes it's too much information all at once. So
yeah.
it's, how do you manage, your time with consuming content?
Ah, well, consuming content, so I go on TikTok as a very poor habit at night as I'm trying to look for pasta videos to help me fall asleep. And in the midst of these pasta videos, I will find some really good Klaviyo updates, Meta updates, Google updates. And I sit there and I start watching. And then I send myself a note to look into it more in the morning. So I consume bits and bobs. It's really to help me relax. And people think, oh my God, Jen, you're crazy to watch TikTok before you go to sleep. How will you fall asleep? The minute I see pasta videos, I'm like, "I'm out." But I always see bits and bobs just because that's my algorithm, and I send it to myself, and I just am like, "Look into this more, see if there's more in this." And then, obviously, your computer kinda knows that you're looking into it, and so I'm starting to get tired of ads somehow comes into my email about, in a newsletter, so, I try not to consume too much content and just sit there endlessly scrolling. It is my, like, moment given to it, um, and it does help, and then every so often, um, you know, you get Instagram. I actually kinda like Instagram, scrolling just so I can see ads, so I'll look at my competitors beforehand and make sure I'll get target. I'll add things to my cart. I'll make sure they target me, you know? If they're doing a great job, cool. Let me look at their ads. I screenshot them and I use that as inspiration. So my scrolling on Instagram has a very different purpose. I really just want to see what's happening, even though I can go into their libraries, but I want to see when they come up, how long after, and it kind of just gives me an idea of a funnel. So different purposes, different scrolling, but yeah, I try not to consume too much.
No, I get that. It's hard to manage. So actually, I have a question out of curiosity about that. So, um, around making creative content and different things like that, or managing creative content. So something that I run into a lot is, okay, say I do put something in my cart and I don't end up getting it, and I get targeted ads about this product repetitively. Me as a person, and I think this happens to other people, is I get fed up with this brand and now I never want to buy it ever again because it's constantly in my face and it's aggravating me. And I'm like, I put this in my cart, but now I really don't want it. How do you manage that kind of balance of what you think is good, but also too much?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Again, this comes down to the customer funnel, right? So if you have a couch, for example, that's upwards $2,000. If you see it once again, you're not gonna click on it and be like, "I'm purchasing it right away." You're gonna need to see it multiple times. It's gonna take you some time for decisions, but you have to be like, very thoughtful with that kind of funnel because maybe the question is it stain resistant? Can, whatever. Answer that in that ad. A few weeks later, in that ad, be like a testimonial. "I love this. I have kids. It's great," whatever. But making sure that that funnel kinda looks different for that product is really important, but also capping the frequency. I've seen a lot of ads and agencies, essentially just be like, "Here's one ad for all of remarketing, and if you've seen it 5 times, it's the same 5 ads for the same 5 times that you're seeing it in the same week," and you're like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." So just being, like, understanding that a couch is gonna take at least 2 or 3 months to really kind of get that, but if it's a $30 T-shirt, you're most likely 2 touch points, 2 or 3 touch points. So that message kind of can look the same, um, or ideally, by that 3rd touch point, you can send over a DPA, so it's like, "You may have been interested in this one, but if you didn't like this one, here's 5 others that you might like." So it kinda changes up that content, but really, you have to look at the frequency. You also have to understand the messaging per touch point, per part of the funnel, and that's why I think it's so fascinating because you can't just be like, "Buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it." Use wasn't it just gets annoying, and that's why you gotta talk to people differently in different places.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good advice, and variety is something that's definitely really important because I can be tricked into buying something if they,
Right.
give it to me in so many different ways. They just gotta get the right one. It happens
It just answers
way too much.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
Mhm.
gotta answer your questions in those ads. Yep. Because that's why you're not buying, right? You
Mhm.
probably looked at it because you're like, "I'm interested, but maybe does it fit my house? Does it is it, does it last long? Is it water resistant?" Whatever. It has to answer those questions in those ads to make you want to purchase right away. If not, it won't work. I mean, maybe if you really wanted it, but if you've done your research and you're gone off and now you're on Amazon and Amazon has all these, you know, reviews and stuff, that may get your purchase, but the second touch point is usually word of mouth or review. So you wanna have that in that ad.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Like I'm constantly debating over as a consumer and as a marketer what are the best ways to go about because I know maybe I'm not the average consumer. Maybe I have a low tolerance for repetitive ads and other people don't. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I see the silliest, most ridiculous ad, and I want to get that product. I
Cool.
want it so badly. And I'm sure other people will look at it and be like, "This is so stupid," and just like scroll.
You could be that audience.
Yeah, I'm the audience they're probably looking for.
Awesome.
but it works for me. They really know how to get it. It's very,
We're all consumers at the end of the day.
we're all consumers, fortunately and unfortunately. So, when you create bots for sales strategy, what is your method for creating this? Like, what kind of, process do you go through, in order to create, like, a successful bot?
A bot or, um we don't really do bots, is that what you meant? You mean like our funnel?
I guess so. Sorry, I did this, research on your LinkedIn. It says that you,
Oh, yeah. No, I did bots when it was, like, really cool, like, 12 years ago till about, like, 6 years ago. Now everything's kinda automation with AI, but if you wanna talk about, like, again, bots, there are some things that you can talk about with messaging apps. They kinda become automated now. Facebook
Mhm,
and yeah, mostly Facebook has just kind of had the tools to automate it or there's
mhm.
programs to do it. But way back then, it was really just a conversation, which I can actually change over to how SMS marketing could be because that's actually,
That would
in a way, the new bot. So I apologize. Not she was really quick. Hey,
my misunderstanding.
no, you're good. But SMS marketing, essentially, let's take this as our bot, right? Uh, the way I like to think about it, I hate SMS messaging if it's sale on sale on sale on sale. Have a conversation with it. So, what again? We were talking touch points. Say it's I'm looking through a clothing company and I'm shopping around and I looked at their leather pieces and then I looked at their denim pieces and now I'm like not interested. I want that text message to be like, "Hey, we saw you shopping. Press 1 for leather, press 2 for denim, press 3 for sale, and we'll send you stuff." And then you press 2, you talk to them, you say 2, "Okay, now I have denim. Oh, our denim pieces are really great to wear during summer. Are you looking for jeans or shorts?" And now it's kinda like that bot conversation you're mentioning, but it's SMS, and it feels like it's a conversation. So to me, I think SMS is it's one of those that are it's a really successful platform, but I don't think many people do it right,
Mhm,
and especially when it comes to, like, elections happening at this point. Um Not getting into politics, I promise, but everyone's sending SMS for political stuff, and
mhm.
everyone's sending Black Friday stuff, so it's like a horde of unwanted emails and messages and SMS on your personal phone, right? Like, that's your phone, that's the most personal thing that you have. Um, I think it kinda gets used weirdly, right? And people are like, "I don't wanna interact with this." So now that you have this, like, idea of it's a conversation, it works better. Instead of being like, "Buy it, buy it, buy it." It's kinda giving you, 1, preferences of how to talk to someone, denim, whatever, leather, what yada yada. Or you can really be like, I always use this example because it makes me so happy, but I bought a plant, like, 3 years ago, and still alive, thanks for asking, but, I bought this plant and no joke, 2.5 weeks later, it just messaged me being like, "Hey, we're just checking in to see if you've watered your plant, like, it's a growing thing and blah, blah, blah," and it said, "You grow, girl," and it left me alone. Like, it didn't say, "Buy more, keep shopping, hey, did you see we have seeds?" Like, it was just like, "Make sure you water your plant. It requires water every 1 or 2 weeks," or whatever. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's so nice, like, thank you." And, it was just like a nice conversation piece that I think about that since. And I think that's how SMS marketing should be and bot marketing really should be, is that it's a check-in. It's a friend to be like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's talking to you for funnel to eliminate a lot of choices. Almost like a quiz, but just kind of just a conversation piece to be like, We have so much clothing, we have all these collections. How can we put it into something smaller?" So it's a really fun way to kinda get, to also know someone and what their preference is and send over, like, really segmented stuff. So if I said denim, just send me denim stuff, right? That's what I want. So it's just a way to kind of, like, really funnel through all that noise and get some really curated content that they need.
Oh, I really like that, and I resonate a lot with that it should be a particular style to get someone's attention in a way that's not negative, because the amount of SMS message like, emails messages that I get, um, where I immediately just text them, "Stop," because I'm just like, "I don't wanna be getting this," but there also is, a campaign that I really admire, is for this brand Hard Jewelry, which, I don't know if you've heard of them, but I think you'd be really interested in how they do this. But they're heavily involved in, like, meme culture on Instagram. Like, they have an Instagram, which I follow because I think it's hysterical. Um, but the way that they send out messages is it sounds like a life update, like a friend is texting
Yeah.
you. Like, it sounds it like, I constantly get them and have no idea that they're ads, like, for a second, I'm like, "Who is this person?" Because I just see the phone number, and I don't have this saved in my phone, and I just see it, I'm like, "Oh," and I automatically click on the message just because of that, and half the time, I'm like, "Ugh," then I click off of it. Um, but
Yep.
sometimes I'm like, "Oh, they have an update on their jewelry." It's so funny too because it's such a brand that is not my style at all, but I somehow got twisted up in their marketing campaign, and I thought that's
Marketing.
a thing that yeah, that I think those are some of the best brands. We were just, I was just talking about Liquid Death earlier today.
Oh, I
They
love liquid death.
some some of the most beautiful marketing I've ever seen in my life, like, they were selling, their drinks out of a coffin
Mhm.
cooler the other day, and I was like, "This is genius. I want a coffin cooler now.
Yeah.
I want that." It makes no sense for me to ever purchase, ever, but I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah. They have a branding that allows for that, like, y not every brand wants to be funny and quippy and, "Oh, like, drink the drink that one guy hated," like, that is a great way of marketing, and that's so on brand for them, but it doesn't always resonate, and some people are like, "This is so annoying, and this is so this," but it's like, as a marketer, when I look at Liquid Death, I'm like, "This is so smart.
I love Guinness.
Who wrote this, and can we be friends?"
Yeah. No, I love the unique, paths that people take to stand out from other brands because it's like, you never see you never see branding like, good branding for water. Like, I've never I don't think I've ever
It's just
seen
water.
just water. Like, yes, there's I don't know, you can, I guess, brand yourself for, like, this is a particular pH, and it's really good for you, and blah, 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 but I I've never it does set them apart from other water brands because you only see your regular, like, I don't know, Poland Spring, whatever, Fiji, I don't know, and you don't think much of them, like, you just see them as a familiar brand, and maybe that's enough for them, it probably is,
Mhm.
but to come into a space where there are already these regularly recognized brands and being able to set yourself aside from them, I think is so genius and crucial for a newer brand coming into this world. And I love that they were able to do that so seamlessly.
Yeah, God, they're like one for the books.
No, I
That if someone's
definitely
writing some marketing book out there, which I'm sure someone is, or some LinkedIn post, put link liquid death, it's gonna work out for everyone. That's just, like, such an anomaly. That one's really great.
no, they really I really admire them. Like I'm not much of a crazy marketing nerd, but when I see a really good campaign, I'm like, "Oh my
Mhm.
god." Like, I love whoever had this idea. Like, I just think it's so interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that company, and there's a sunglasses company that also does it, that, like, does really, like, crude humor, and I think it's also really awesome, like, it doesn't you can't really get away with it too much, but, like, one of it I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on a podcast, but one of it is, like, it's, like, their glasses, and it just their tagline's, like, "I just wanna sit on your face," and I'm like,
That's so funny, though.
because it's accurate, but it's also, like, it got my attention. I don't wear glasses, but I'm like, "I wish I did." So, it's just one of those things that, like, humor does attract a lot of people. It really hits an emotional uh, trigger, um, which is so important in copywriting, but that one I was just like it sets them apart from being like our shades, our UV or whatever. It's just like something so different. Yeah, it sits on your face, and that's exactly what it does, and
That's exactly what it does, and it's really well. And, if it's something that's up to interpretation like that, if you ever get into some kind of scandal, you just be like, "I that wasn't what we meant. This was an
but it
unintentional, reaction. We didn't realize this was being crude, like, and, we had to fire some people, but we're good now. We're learn." But I think that's so funny. My favorite thing is seeing, like, Gen Z videos advertising things. Like, they're like, "We had our Gen Z intern have
yeah,
create the idea for this video," and it's just them breathing. Like, it's just
Yeah.
intervals of they took the whole video, it's just intervals of them breathing.
Have you seen the one with the I think it was, like, the Minnesota Zoo or something?
Yes.
Yeah, like, he's, like, 3 or sorry, 2 old guys or an old woman and old guy, and they're, like, in their 60s or 70s, and they're making all these, like, Gen Z puns of, like, bet, slay, and it's, like, these just, like, these cute little ducks, you know?
It's
They're,
adorable.
like yeah, so demure, so cutesy, like, same thing that we said, you're so cutesy, so demure, whatever it is, and it just, like, all these, like, little cute animals with this old couple that are, like, literally putting their hands up like Vanna White and showing off these, like the trends that was written by the, like, grandkid.
Yeah, no, I really, really love, seeing those. I It's funny too because I guess it depends. I see those ads actually pretty commonly now, and I think about a lot of the time that sometimes it's not actually even the best idea. It's funny to me, but I realize that a lot of those brands should not be catering to this audience particularly. Like, it's like, yes, you're gonna get my attention, but I'm not gonna go to your page because I'm
Mhm.
not who you're looking for to sell to or to, and I guess maybe it does make people talk and maybe that's enough sometimes, but it's also, I think a lot of people try to be trendy and it's
Yeah.
not really for them. Like, it doesn't
Yeah,
make sense.
it depends for sure your audience, it also depends on the platform. So, say, for example, you have a $5,000 piece of jewelry. That's not gonna sell on TikTok, but that could sell on Meta. That's just,
Mhm.
like, where the older demographic is, where they are stable. Grandma Joe or Grandpa Joe is like, "I can get this for my kids," and they still update their statuses or whatever. That's
Mm.
a really great place for people who have more money. They're more stable, they're more I don't wanna say old because I'm on it, but they're a little more in their life, than Instagram and TikTok users. TikTok is still developing as a shopping platform, but they're not the ones that are like, you know, they don't have that much money to their names just yet. Instagram's like a good sweet spot for where people are purchasing a bit more. But it just really depends on what the product is. But TikTok, like, I think it's like what Snapchat was like 10 years ago. Like now people are probably buying on Snapchat, but before it was just like a Snapchat. It was just a platform to like send pictures. So it's like TikTok will get there, I think.
I
Or
think so too. I think it's, definitely not something that's gonna die anytime soon. I think we are all kind of worried because of, like, the US litigation or whatever, but I didn't ever see it going somewhere. It's just that they probably just didn't want they wanted to be able to get money from it. That's really the biggest problem, and, like, people worried about data leaking and stuff like that, but okay, so related to what we've been talking about,
yeah.
when you are launching a new creative campaign, one, what does your research process look like? But then also, what do you think is the most crucial thing to think about when you're doing this?
Yeah, great question. So I kind of touched on it before, which was I start adding myself to all the brands that are competitors to see their ads. I look at their ad library. I look at Ad Nova, which is just like a whole platform of like ad inspiration. Um, you never want to copy, but you want to see what's working out there, right? Someone's kind of doing lifestyle videos. That's probably going to work for you too, especially if you're in the same niche. So I kind of like to use a bunch of the competitors as inspiration. Um, but what gets people going is a good hook, and you have to have something on that creative that's gonna reel them in because and I am sure every marketer and every person I'm listening to this is gonna be like, "Oh, okay. We've heard this before." But it's so essential, the hook I think they even have, like, a hook rate on Meta now just to make sure, like, people are clicking within the first 3 seconds. It's just, like, they need that attention, and that's what TikTok's actually really great at. It's like, "I can't believe this is happening," or "Have you tried this viral?" Whatever,
Mm.
and it's just like, those are hook rates that everyone's mind just naturally is like, "Oh my god, no, I haven't. Oh my god, I need to see it. Oh my god, I should do that," and then, that's what's really important when we start doing our research is like, what's the hook here? It's not shop now, it's not purchase now, no one cares about that. It's, what gets them what gets their attention and brings them in and reels them in.
Yeah, definitely. And it is interesting because I think that maybe it's just that I have TikTok right now, but I think that ads on TikTok do reel me in so much better than any, social media app I've ever used. I I don't know if it's like Instagram is one thing because I think most things that are catered to me are like fashion. And it's just like if I like something, I'm gonna click on
Yeah.
it, and that's like kind of very basic. But TikTok is like something that I would never ever consider buying.
Mhm. Yeah.
I will click on
But
their page.
never know your life without this, and you're like, "Had it then."
And I'm just like, crap. And the amount of I think that it is a testament to the amount of influencers or just regular people that they can use as spokespeople.
Yeah.
Because I think that that's something that I fear. Because
Mhm.
I think that um there's a lot of distrust with, like, brand ambassadors of
Yep.
whether they're telling the truth or not because they're getting paid, and
You're right.
I try my best to not get roped into things like that because I'm like, "This I can't trust that this is an authentic review." Like, I don't know this person. I try my best to find people that just review things because they're doing it to review it, and they don't have, I like at least that they have that safeguard in of, like, it has to be included on the bottom that they're getting paid for this or,
Yeah.
they'll get sued or something like that. I don't really know how the litigation goes about that, but
Yeah.
it's
If
very
they're
hard.
gonna get profit from it, they have to they have to say that they're gonna get it. But I think now TikTok at least does this creator does get a percentage of sales if bought. So I
Y
think they
yeah, it's on the
offer
bottom,
this
right?
disclaimer. Mhm.
Mhm, and that's always, like I think it's just very difficult now to maintain, um what's the word for I guess
Oh,
bias?
mm,
Authenticity is definitely. It's just you don't know what to believe anymore, and it's hard to, even with now with AI for Google incorporated into that, I think it's also difficult to do your own research. Me discovering through being involved in marketing and finding out that most review websites are just belonging
mm,
to someone that is a part of that review site
yeah,
or
like
their
Fiverr,
it's yep. And
Amazon.
uh it really has threw me for a loop. This
Yeah. But I've seen it on actual I think, I've seen it on actual clients where they may have bought a review or 2, and you can tell because the product image and the review image is the same, but the name is different, and the review is different, and you're like, "Okay, like, let's stop buying this." Like, it just kinda gets a little sketchy, but, you kinda wanna see multiple sources, and that's what I was saying again too, like, the touch points are so important, like, you're gonna click on an ad, that's fine, but what's gonna happen next is usually gonna be a testimonial on it or something with the reviews, like, see why so many people love it, and then you're gonna most likely buy it.
yeah, it is super helpful to also be familiar with AI and kind of how it generates responses to be able to filter through what's clearly fake because I can recognize an AI review like that now. Like
Yeah.
I and also you can also just look through someone's reviews and, at least go through like 20 and see, oh, one bad review, 10 good reviews right
Yeah.
after it in the same time span. That's really interesting. Um,
Yep. Yeah.
I wonder why that is. It's very interesting. I hope
Please.
that yeah, right. I hope that they my hope for the future is that there's some kind of safeguard that's put in place for things like that. That, I don't know how they would be able to implement authentic reviews. But
Hokkaido does a really good job, to be honest. Okendo does a really great job, and they also have it in the back end, it's, like, with verified purchasers. So, you have to be a verified purchaser, it has to be connected to your Shopify, and it really helps kind of remove any kinda AI stuff, and if you're really paranoid, you can also, like, check which reviews to post or not. Like, you can say all 5-star, all 4-star, and anything that's, like, under 3-star, you can kinda check 'cause who knows? Sometimes it's, like, a competitor being like, "I hate this brand," and then yeah. But we always use Okendo, they've been really great, in terms of getting authentic reviews and stuff.
that's really helpful actually. I haven't even heard of that, which is so interesting. I thought like I would. So that's nice.
Right. Yeah,
Thank you.
they're really great. Yeah. No, no, of
Yeah,
course.
'cause I'm very fearful of inauthenticity, which is so common now. I mean, ever
Yeah,
so many
of
little
course.
AI is so incredibly helpful and hurtful.
Yeah, it is.
Well, this was incredible, but we unfortunately do not have any time left. We're already a little over, but that's always my favorite kind of podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and this was a really lovely chat.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate it. And everyone at home, do not forget to like and subscribe to listen to more professionals like Jen and learn from them just like I can. Thank you so much for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe again. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.